Now, Daniel Radcliffe, presumably you are familiar with Miriam's potty mouth because... are you? Because you were in Harry Potter, but did you actually work together?
Yeah,
Yes, we
absolutely.
did.
But I don't remember. I've been told there was a swear jar involved on set, but I can't remember that. I don't even remember you swearing a lot in front of...
I was probably careful when it was you,
Okay.
but when, you know, with the other kids, I didn't bother.
He's the lead. Yeah.
But I was just talking backstage, if that's what you call that funny little grubby area. And apparently it's 20 years since Harry Potter came out.
Since we started filming the first one.
And your balls have dropped since then, I can tell you that.
It's a relief to us all.
I hope so.
Yeah, because they're just wee kids then.
We get it, yes.
Yeah. It's just, yeah.
But it's interesting because Professor Sprout, which, you know, you were in the second film and the last film.
Yeah, I should have been in all of them.
Yes.
And that was a grave oversight, and I'm holding you responsible.
I told them.
But anyway, it was wonderful to be in the two that I was in, and I'm very proud of it.
But you do get recognised as Professor Sprout.
I do. I mean, I think I've changed since then, but people do recognise me. And funnily enough, in Lithuania,
Lithuania?
Have you come just to see Professor Sprout?
I don't think so.
Are the films called Professor Sprout and the Death Reality?
No, but I was mobbed in Lithuania. Maybe because I was Jewish, I don't know. I'm the only one left.
Sorry.
Stop cheering now. But I just think that's incredible. Like, you're being mobbed in Lithuania and you were Professor Sprout. Imagine being this man.
I know. What was it like?
I mean, it's weird and funny, and I think the best way to see it always was, like, weird and funny, because you know, and it ebbs and flows, and sometimes it's in your life a lot, and sometimes it's not in terms of getting recognised, and there's been lots of very odd moments. I was chased out of a science museum in Spain, and I was just like... But it was sort of fine, because everything was in Spanish there, and I couldn't understand anything inside, so it was time to leave anyway.
Yes.
And then, but yeah.
You got but someone thought you were something else in New York recently.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Actually, this did not come up in with it. Yeah. So I did recently. So me and my girlfriend fostered a dog, and we sort of got our friends to adopt it. This isn't unnecessary for the story. There's a dog with me. I was on the street with this dog, and my girlfriend was in the shop, and so and it was very cold.
Hoodie.
And I got my hoodie and my fleece hoodie, and then a big coat over that. And the dog was really cold, so I was like, oh, I'll just kneel by you and, like, stroke you and, like, try and keep you warm. And then I saw this guy, like, look up at me, like, 10 yards away and smile. And I was like, yeah, and just carried on. And then he walked past me, and he came back, like, he got about 5 steps past me, and then just reappeared with a $5 bill over my shoulder and just went, get yourself a coffee, mate. I really, like, my girlfriend came out, and I was like, I don't think I'm wearing nice clothes, I thought, like, I don't know, yeah, so I was very much, that was a wake-up call. Apparently I have to maybe, you know...
Was your dog on a string?
I do maintain, because the person that owns the dog has also been mistaken for a homeless person with this dog. I think the dog just looks very cold and sweet and vulnerable.
Don't blame the dog.
No, I know.
I did have a Sir encounter only a few weeks ago in Los Angeles. A rather fancy, in fact, extremely fancy restaurant.
Well, tell them what it is, because they'll know.
It was the Tower Bar.
Sunset Tower?
See? No.
Yeah.
These guys are cool.
No. Say it again. Look
The Tower Bar.
Oh, man, the Tower Bar. What? The Tower Bar. Damn! I can't even get in there. Come on, dog.
Keep going. You keep going. Keep going.
Okay. Well,
No, the Tower Bar is the spot.
I got a feeling this isn't going to work out quite the way I'm imagining. So the 4 of us were seated at a table. About 15 minutes later, into the restaurant walks Sir Paul McCartney.
Wow.
Good.
Now, Paul and I have a very slender relationship, but it's lasted decades.
Okay.
I first encountered him in 1964.
No.
When his girlfriend Jane Asher then had told him that I loved Aston Martins. I was driving a battered old Ford, but Aston Martins were my dream car. She told him this. And one night, we knew he was seeing the show. There was a knock on my door. And I said, yeah, come in. I'm there in my underwear, you know, like...
As usual.
Well, I always...
As you greet people normally.
I hang around like that, just in the hope. And,
Come in, I'm in my pants.
yes. I'm ready for you. I said, come in, and the door opened, and standing there was Paul McCartney, who I had never met before, and this was 1964. Wow. And he said, Jane says that you like Aston Martins. Here, drive this.
Wow.
And he tossed a bunch of keys over to me. Cool. And it was it was his Aston.
Amazing.
Anyway, do you want to hear the restaurant?
Keep going, keep going. We're in the fanciest restaurant in LA.
We're now in the Tower Bar.
Tower Bar? Go on.
It's a legend.
I am feeling less and less good about this.
Keep going, keep going. You're in there. So Paul McCartney's come in. You've known him since the 60s.
And he sees me and comes over, and I stand up and say hi, and we have a big hug in the restaurant, and I'm very much aware that there's all the tables are full and this kind of thing. And we talk for 5 or 6 minutes, and he goes and sits down. 5 minutes go by, and into the restaurant walks Sir Ringo Starr. I swear to you, I'm not making this up.
Were they together? Yeah. They were
at the same table.
Oh, they were at the same
yes.
table?
Well, we at the Tower Bar.
At the Tower Bar.
Oh, man, I am expecting so many free meals. And we finish early, and I get up to go, and Paul stands up to say goodbye, and we have a hug. And as we have a hug, he says into my ear, do you know Ringo? And I said, yeah, of course. I've never met him, but he said, oh, boy, Ringo, come on, come over here. Hang on a minute, he said, Sir Ringo, Sir Patrick, Sir Paul. Hey, we've got the Knights of the Round Table.
You got there.
Yeah,
you got there.
Yeah, man. Oh, you did it.
You've noticed something about British people and the way they speak, that we do a funny thing.
Well,
we think it's funny.
No, I mean, I love every regional accent, every dialect. I'm a big fan.
You're not getting into that scone mess.
Please don't under my neck. But I like that because there's so many accents to such a small country, everybody sort of puts on different voices when they're doing little bits and stuff.
Yeah.
But I had a thing where I was checking into a hotel, and somebody came out and said, oh, do you need help with your bags? And I thought they were doing a bit. So I went, oh, I've been traveling all day, I have no idea. And then they kept talking like that. So I had to, like, slowly transition out of it. And I know that that sounds like an exaggeration of their voice, but then I was back in the country several years later, and they were on TV on Gogglebox, because it was Steph and Dom from Gogglebox.
Is that
amazing? So they actually talk like that.
That is hilarious. I never knew that was a real hotel bed and breakfast thing.
Yeah.
But you stayed there.
I stayed there.
Yeah.
And accidentally made fun of them to their face.
You have experience of vicious animals. Creature.
No, I feel like I've had a lot of professional dealings with animals.
Yes.
I did a film with a lion once. I had to shoot with a lion, you know, a wild lion. And well, I say wild. I mean, he's been in films.
Okay.
Bad boy.
And we had to do. So I arrived to shoot this scene, and the first thing I noticed was the camera crew were in a steel cage, only big enough to contain the camera. I thought I'd better ask some basic safety questions. I said, what is the sort of safety thing here with this wild lion? And they said, well, the first thing is we make sure, before the lion works, we make sure that he has sex. Just to take the edge off.
I did that.
And I said, well, I'm not particularly worried about I'm not worried about a randy lion. I'm more worried about the eating kind. And they said, that's all right, because we will feed the lion. We won't feed him too much, because then he'll go to sleep. And I said, again, that's not really... Because I know what it's like. You open a packet of crisps, you have one, but then you kind of want more, don't you? And the third thing they said, the third sort of safety measure, was that the lion's downhill. And he's very lazy, and he probably won't chase you. And again, I was just not really reassured by this. And I said to the chap, but what, you know, what if it does happen? What are you supposed to do? And he took great delight, the South African handler took great delight in telling me that if a lion charges you, useful advice, you have to reach back, you take a handful of shit and you throw it in the lion's face. And I obviously said, where'd you get the shit from? And he said, don't worry, it'll be there.
You're amazing, man. I really, really enjoyed Get Out, and everything you're doing is fantastic.
Oh, I appreciate you, bro.
Wonderful. I made a song for you backstage.
What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean?
I know, it's quick, but it's the best I could do in a short amount of time.
What's going on? What's going on?
Tenyo Kaluuya, Tenyo Kaluuya, Tenyo Kaluuya, Tenyo Kaluuya. Had to take a breath.
That was beautiful.
What gift you got? Oh, thank you so much. I'm just out here auditioning for everything.
The thing is, you know, we all do other jobs when we're starting out, and lots of people do the classic catering. David Schwimmer, you went one up from waiting tables. You did waiting tables with a little bit extra.
I waited tables for a long time, about 7 years, but my first gig was as a roller skating waiter at this. I was good. And it was at this really cool place in Chicago.
Really cool.
It was. It's called Ed DeBevick's.
I worked at Ed DeBevick's. In LA when they opened it.
That's right. They opened one in LA.
The stars that came out of this place. Because you had to play a character.
Yeah, I was Romeo.
I was Frankie.
You roller skated well.
No.
Oh, so only Romeo roller skated?
No, well, in Chicago, they had roller skating waiters.
Oh, right.
So, and I was roller skates and I was serving all the outdoor tables. So there was a huge parking lot and a pretty wide sidewalk with tables lined up like picnic tables where families would come and you'd make not very much money with minimum wage in the States, as you're aware, but you made a lot of money by performing stunts. So I would like line up people's kids and they would like, kneel next to each other in a line. I could probably jump over 3 or 4 at a time. I'm serious. And then I would say, hey, you guys want to see it? You know, the parents were like, yeah, go for it. Right? And I would just take off down the street and jump all over, over them and then kind of like skid to a stop, and then I'd get, all these fancy tips from doing it. But you had to play a character, and my character was like Romeo the Romancer. He was kind of based a little on Travolta in, Grease or something. You know what I mean? It was a 50s diner, so I had a big pompadour and, bigger muscles at the time.
Is this from that time? Is this when you were Romeo?
No. Oh, man.
That was a whiff of Travolta.
I had that earring. I had that earring.
That screams Romeo.
Yeah, no, but my hair was not as long as that. It was more of a pompadour. But,
okay.
Yeah, similar embarrassing time.